What's going on YouTube? JT's Reborn here, and welcome back to another edition of my DC comic book reviews. And in this video, I'm going to be talking about DC Universe, Lazarus Planet, Legends Reborn, Issue 1. This is another one-shot tie-in to the Lazarus Planet event, and it's just kind of there. It's kind of forgettable. There's no real all that memorable story. The artwork is okay in some instances, but nothing that really pops off the page like some other artwork that I've seen so far in this Lazarus Planet event. If you're trying to grasp the story of Lazarus Planet, I think you can very easily skip this one. It's basically just an anthology thing of different people within the universe experiencing things, and maybe they're setting things up, maybe not. I don't really exactly know all that much. It's kind of like an offshoot, really. Just like, hey, you want to know what's going on with Renee Montoya, the Question? Well, Lazarus Reign stuff is happening, so many changes, and there's that. Hey, you want to know about Raven and her effect in this whole event thing? Well, her dad's there. Some people got changed into demons, and that's kind of it. One of them goes off with Trigon. I guess he's going to be some sort of apprentice. Hey, you want to know about a character named like City Boy or whatever who can communicate with the city, kind of? Okay, hey, Firestorm's here. Hey, I haven't seen Firestorm in a while, and it's just kind of like somebody else's Firestorm. I don't know. This is kind of a forgettable issue. There's no all that memorable story. There's some decent art in some instances, but nothing all that spectacular. So the first one is set in Gotham. Renee Montoya, of course, is her alter ego, the Question, doing her things. The Lazarus Reign happens. Somebody turns over, and she's going to have to step up to the plate and try and solve this case. She kind of does, and that's pretty much about it. Nothing all that spectacular. You can pretty much skip it. Doesn't really do much to add to the overall event. The next one is a Raven storyline. The artwork this time around I don't think is all that great. Beast Boy kind of shows up still with the eye patch here. And can we get a Raven story without Beast Boy in modern DC Comics? I feel like wherever she goes, he's just right there. Like, she can't just have a nice solo Raven story. Although technically, the ending reveal is that it's not Beast Boy. It's actually Trigon impersonating him. But still, the point's like Raven cannot escape this guy wherever he goes in any story anymore, it feels like, at least in the current universe. So, yeah, there we go. Stuff kind of happens. So like 3 people were transformed by the Lazarus Reign. One of them just ends up becoming an apprentice of Trigon, and then it just sort of ends. That's it. Like, this one was written by Alex Packendale, art by Christopher Minton. Wasn't a huge fan of the art this time around. I don't think it did Raven really any favors. Just kind of there. Yeah. The next one is City Boy, which I guess is kind of an interesting one. This character can kind of communicate with the city, and he's able to see all its secrets. If he touches something, like, oh, hey, here's a missing item here, or here's something there, and he's able to kind of phase through, and he gets all these different metahuman powers that are linked to it. He finds a crown, he brings it to some lady there, but he's still kind of like trying to look out for his own self. It just says, there you go. It says, City Boy's adventures will continue this year. Stay tuned. So if you want to grasp with this kid and his powers, there you go. That's his story in kind of a nutshell. This one was written by, who was it written by? Greg Pak, Q Jung artist. I think this one probably had the best art maybe of the 4 stories right here. And then you have the 4th and final story, which is a Firestorm story written by Dennis Clover, drawn by Jesus Moreno, or Jesus Moreno, however you pronounce it. And like I said, it's still Ronnie and Professor Stein in their issues with the Firestorm Matrix. They have to fight some sort of antimatter character, and then somebody else is kind of linked with the Firestorm thing, or it's affecting different people, and yada yada yada. It is cool to see Firestorm because I feel like I haven't seen him in a while, but that's kind of it. Nothing all that great or spectacular. This just felt like a bit of a filler issue. Nothing that stood out to me as all that great. I was looking forward most to reading the Raven one because Raven's my favorite character in this storyline. Well, unless you count Dick Grayson, Nightwing. But there was a Renee Montoya Question one. It's just kind of a forgettable one. Powers unlocked. I mean, I don't know. It just didn't really do much for me. It felt just kind of like a filler issue. It didn't really seem to add much to the overall Lazarus Planet event. And even if it didn't necessarily do that, the storylines themselves weren't all that interesting. There's just basic Renee Montoya Question thing, which even without the Lazarus Reign would have just been a simple detective thing, which if you're looking for something like that, I guess it's okay. The Raven one, was underwhelming. It just kind of sort of ended. It wasn't all that long of a story. The artwork, I hate to say this, but it wasn't really the strongest I've seen from DC Comics. It didn't really do Raven any favors design-wise. It's not the worst I've seen, but it's by far like not the best, and you know, it's just it's so-so. The third one was City Boy. It just is a really quick story. I didn't really know too much about this character. It's kind of like a little brief intro. You get a glimpse of his powers, and it says things will continue later on with City Boy. I'm like, okay. And then the Firestorm one is just kind of like the same deal. There's issues with the Firestorm Matrix. They fight some antimatter beasts, and there's more problems by the end of it, I guess. But did it really flesh out the whole Lazarus Planet story? No, it just kind of showed characters who and how they're affected by the whole thing. But that's I guess it. I don't know. I think you can skip this one. This is the weakest Lazarus Planet tie-in storyline so far. I found it really underwhelming. It didn't really do much for me. No story stood out as anything all that special. And if this is supposed to get me interested in a lot of these characters in a new direction, I don't think it did a really great job. So I don't hate it or anything like that. I don't think it's truly awful and something that really angers me, but it's just forgettable. And, you know, sometimes that's what happens with these events when they have like 8 million tie-ins, because apparently that's what we need. There's going to be some issues that just aren't all that spectacular. The main stuff usually can be pretty good in a lot of instances, but with this one, all the various spin-offs, it just, it didn't do much for me. So there it is, I guess. Sorry, this is kind of a lackluster video. Yesterday was some big news, though, with the whole DC Comics slate announcement, so I thought that was pretty cool. But reading this and trying to talk about it after the whole DC slate announcement, this just comes across as pretty underwhelming, if you will. But even then, like, this would have been released even before that slate announcement, given that, you know, it comes out at midnight. But yeah, so like I said, this is just kind of a so-so issue, just really forgettable. I don't really recommend it all that much. Once I'm done with this video, I'll probably never really think about this issue again, to be honest. So yeah, there you go. Another Lazarus Planet tie-in. And with that said, that's going to wrap it up for all the comic book reviews for this week. Yeah, not too much all that considered, because if there's usually a 5th week, DC usually saves that for annuals or maybe like one tiny issue or something like that. But I'm okay with getting a little bit of a break. Since yesterday was a big DC news day anyways, a lot of stuff I'm looking forward to with that announced slate. And I know there's still more that they're keeping secret from all of us, but as it stands, I'm more looking forward to that than whatever I guess is next in the comic book lineup. Although I'm sure there's going to be some good stuff coming out later on this year. So next week will be a much nicer week for DC. So I look forward to seeing all that stuff. But anyways, if you have any thoughts on Lazarus Planet Legends Reborn, let me know in the comment section down below. Be sure to like this video, share it with your friends, subscribe to the YouTube channel for more content, all that other fun stuff. And I will see you all in the next video. Peace.